Hey everyone, we're going to break out Wednesday for the 23rd of April 25. It's currently 4 p.m. on the West Coast, 6 p.m. on the East Coast. First of all, remember, this is never financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is simply a video blog on how one trader sees market, and everyone needs to take responsibility for their own decisions. The market is rallying. It's awesome. Trump kind of caved in. Funny memes going around about it. And gold is getting hammered. My CMM trade, I bailed on open like a bandit this morning, right, and took the rest of my profits because it was clear what was happening. So my gold positions, that was my biggest gold position by far, but that's been gone, wiped away, and grabbed the profit that I had left and ran. And you know, big rally. Like if you look at the All Lords, big rally, all right, and it's good times. CBA, right? One of the most hated rallies in history, with very famous fund managers betting against it and shorting it. They've all been wiped out, and this thing is at all-time highs. I've talked about this, gap down and the flush and test of highs. Like there was a good article in the Financial Review this morning about trying to explain why the CBA is outperforming everything by so much, and it had 3 explanations for it. I'm not going to go through it here, but you might be able to read that article. I can post it to the forum if anyone who gives a shit. Let me know, post on the thread, and I will. But who cares? Like I've been long CBA for ages. I've been talking about it like it was breaking out of these huge bases back here. Those pure kind of technical, traders who follow big bases and were patient are just making bank. I do know that a bunch of pro-trader members have been riding it, and good on you, right? Now, EOL I'm in, and that is just, flirting away there. Relative strength of 99. Quickly, every Easter, Easter's like my favorite time of the year, right? Every Easter, I've talked about this before, but I go over, the last 12 months of trades. What that taught me this year is that when I concentrate on relative strength names above 95, I smash it, all right? When I start flirting and stuffing around with shit with relative strength below 80, the performance of those trades is more random, okay? I've proven that. I do this every year, but you're going to see from me a lot more emphasis on the relative strength names above 95. And I just brutally not giving a flying shit about the weaker names and just not touching them, because there's so many stocks in the universe. We don't have to trade them all. We can just be selective. We can just take the best setups we want with huge relative strength. I can nearly guarantee you from studying thousands and thousands of trades that, not in the last year for me, but I've been studying this shit for, 20 something years, and the likelihood of success is gigantically higher when you concentrate on the RS names above 95. Okay, so if you don't already, just think about using it. Okay, and then track it and prove to yourself that I'm not bullshitting you. All right, that's what it's all about. So I've talked about CMA and CUA. Well, let's just move on. Some setups I'm looking at, and I'm looking at being really selective because Trump's still in power and shit can happen. But Duolingo, okay, it's in a long-term uptrend. It didn't get that hammered during the correction. It's got a relative strength of 88. It's got a constructed base where I can easily fathom a nice tight stop loss somewhere around there, and the risk reward is very good, okay? And that's what trading's about. It's making common sense bets with good risk reward and trying to get edge on that setup, okay? And then the rest of it's between your ears. It really is, right? Whether you make money on most of the trades or lose money, it's all about what's going on in your head. Do you follow the plan? Do you get fearful and sell too quickly? Do you break the rules? If you do, you're going to be perennial loser, and you're probably never going to make any money. If you get the discipline you need to follow the plan and not succumb to fear, you're going to be a winner, right? And 90 to 95% of people just do not have the ability to get their head right, okay? I posted this thing to the forum the other day. I promise you, right? Since I bought the shares in ProTrade a few years ago, I've learned more than ever that everyone keeps emailing, saying, we want this developed, we want this scan, we want that scan. There is no scan in the history of scans that are magically going to make anyone rich. All right. What will make you rich is by being the 1% of people who sort their mental state out and turn their minds into money printing machines. That is the difference. Okay. There are so many people who are members of ProTrader who are listening to this who are better than me at charts, but I would bet heavily that that most of these people do not compete with me. I'm not trying to be arrogant, right? I'm just trying to state some facts, but they probably do not compete with me when it comes to the mental side of the game, okay? Because I've worked on it so damn hard. I had coaches, I've had psychologists, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars, right, on working on the mental side of things since I was in my early 20s, okay? I'm in my mid 40s now, right? So it's really, really, really hard what we're trying to do here. We are trying to make a living in one of the most uncomfortable environments you could imagine, okay? You're putting money on the line, shit's gapping down, there's intraday ticks all over the shop. It's really mentally hard. And unless you figure that shit out in your head, you're going to fail, all right? So I didn't mean to get so sidetracked, but if you haven't already, get into the forum and listen to these talks at least a couple times, dive deep into it, think about it, and look at your results and ask yourself, have you made shitloads of money? And if you haven't, admit that you're shit and that you're really, really, really bad and you're weak in the head, and get your shit right, study hard, and turn things around, okay? Because it's so much more important to do that than to keep looking for the holy grail scam, because I'm telling you, it's not out there. But if it was out there, it would be tight VCPs with high relative strength, okay? For me, right? So sidetracked, I didn't mean to crap on like that. Duolingo is probably the pick of the litter for me, okay? Because it fits all my criteria. In terms of other shit, like there's a lot of this stuff around, right? Where you have double bottom, and then a tight little VCP happening on the right. And it's up to me to go through all these and find the one I want. And the one I want is the one with relative strength at 98 or 99, not the one with the relative strength at 87. You can find countless names like this, and you can start, convincing yourself that, a trade in Garmin might be good, right? Because it's sold off heaps. It's got a relative strength of 89. Do I really want to be in that and not in that over Duolingo? Okay, let's have a look at NVIDIA. Okay. Ooh, okay, relative strength of 46. I have zero interest in that shit, okay? Okay, now what else was there to talk about? On the ASX, let's have a look at Renee's pick from the forum of REG. I talked about this last week. Blue sky above it, relative strength 98, a massive kind of arc here, kind of cup with handle, just flat base, VCP, whatever you want to call it. It's got, I have to trade that, right? I have to go full size. I can't, take a tiny little trade and sit on the fence. I need to look at that and say, that's an A+ for me. I'm going all in, right? So REG and Duolingo are my two kind of picks at the moment. And the next is PME. And PME is not a trade decision yet. It's just a watch for now. Okay, we had this like huge uptrend that's like one of the most famous uptrends on the ASX. And then we had this correction with the Trump shit that went on. We had this channel, it gapped out of its channel, gave an arm reversal, it's back in its channel, and now it's poked its head above the upper bit of the channel, and it's fallen in this really, really, really tight handle. And the reason I like it is that A, it needs to stay in this little channel for like another week, and B, if it can do that, then I've got an insane risk reward, because I can have a stop loss below this little support line here. I can get in on a break of this line, and I can ride this up for 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. Who knows? I won't even set a profit target. It's just let that sucker run and try and add to it if I can. So I'm watching that unfold, and that's legit it. Yeah, I hope some of that stuff I said before makes sense. If you look at your results and you're thinking to yourself, shit, I've been doing this for years, but I'm still battling, then I promise you, this is the answer. Just believe me and jump into it deeply, commit to it, don't let your ego get in the way and think that it doesn't apply to you, because if you're thinking that, then it applies to you 100 times more than other people. Take care, guys. Bye.